Threats against our computers are not new, but this specific threat is.
It's called the Freak vulnerability. Let's compute this specifically, risks and solutions.
From Schrock Innovations, Thor, Schrock. Good to see you, Thor.
Welcome back.
Good to see you. It's freaky, guys.
It is freaky. I hear about that.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
But the Freak vulnerability, what is it?
All right, so it's really technical, so I'm going to try to break it down into regular, everyday language. So all of you computer guys out there watching, we all know it's a little more complex than this, but we got to, normal people got to understand.
You're talking to Mary here, Thor.
Okay, so 20 years ago, when the internet was in its infancy, somebody came up with the idea we're going to need secure communication. So we created this thing called a secure socket layer. Now today, whenever you see a consumerism piece, they're saying always look for the little padlock or look for the green bar up there, not the red bar. The red bar is not safe. Right. Yeah, make sure your SSL is there. And that's what keeps your communications between your computer and your bank encrypted, or your computer and Amazon, or your computer and eBay, or your computer and a mom and pop store encrypted. Well, 20 years ago, there was a vulnerability that went undiscovered until recently. About last year, remember we did a segment on this SSL vulnerability that was discovered. Well, up until now, the other piece of that, we only thought affected Macs, and so everyone said, well, what's the big deal? It's just Mac users, Really, I mean, it didn't get a lot of attention. No offense, Mike.
Right here, Mac user,
it didn't get a lot of attention. And so what they found out this last week is it actually impacts everybody, every computer. And so this week what we've seen are huge numbers of updates coming out for Windows. A couple weeks ago we did a piece here on the safest browser to use. We had the statistics that were out, and actually Internet Explorer was the worst browser, and Internet Explorer is once again the worst browser for the Freak vulnerability. I mean, it's wide open. Google Chrome and Firefox were both impacted. However, Google Chrome and Firefox have both been patched twice last week. So if you think you got your patch, you think you got your upgrade, you think you're okay, there was another one. Google Chrome got updated yesterday. So there was another one that came out that you need to get. The scariest part about this, though, is it impacts phone browsers, too.
No.
Yeah.
I thought our phones were safe from this stuff.
Well, this is a secure socket vulnerability. Your phone doesn't have a vulnerability, but the technology that the browser uses to communicate with secure websites, if you're using, for example, it's Android 2.1 or lower, which means you bought your phone in 2010, 2011. If you have an old Android smartphone, you really need to look at a new phone, because the only way you can update that browser is to get an update from your telco, from Sprint or Verizon or somebody like that. And they're not going to push out an update to an Android version that's 4 years old. They're not going to mess with it. They're going to expect you to buy a new phone. So the best thing that you can do as a consumer right now is, number one, the safest browser in that survey we talked about was Firefox, and Firefox was the least impacted by the Freak vulnerability. So switch to Firefox. You can actually download Firefox on your phone too, and you can use Firefox on your phone, which is kind of nice. The big area this really impacts are people who make websites. So when these updates come out, we've been talking over the last few programs, if you have Windows XP, you need to get rid of it. You need to move on, because XP is no longer getting patched. This is a great example. Windows XP is not getting patched. So when all these updates, all these websites update their secure socket layer certificates, you'll find your Windows XP computer can no longer log into your bank account. It can no longer make online purchases. Literally, you're looking at the forced obsolescence now of your XP computer. So it's really time to move on.
You had warned us last fall this was going to happen.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
So what can we do today, as you're talking about all of these risks? What can we do immediately to solve the problem?
Here's the thing. People are busy. People want to go live their lives. They want to do their thing. They get a pop-up on their screen that says it's time to update Firefox. Some people do it, some people don't. We've all been conditioned to be distrustful of pop-ups over time. And so the Firefox pop-up or the Chrome thing saying, hey, there's an update. Chrome even updates automatically sometimes. So those things we tend to trust. But when Java pops up, Java is impacted by this. When Flash pops up, when all these programs pop up with their little pop-up saying we want an update, we don't know if it's the real Java or the real Flash or what.
Yeah.
And the answer to this is a program called Secure Updater. What Secure Updater does is whenever there is an update, so for example, my staff noted that there was a Google Chrome update yesterday. So this morning, within 8 hours of release, all of our Secure Updater customers had the Google Chrome update. And that update kept them safer than they would have been if they would have relied on Google's internal updater or even Firefox's internal updater or anything like that, because they can't push all the updates out at one time. Google might be able to, but especially places like Firefox or Oracle, they're not going to push it out to millions of users instantly. But when you have Secure Updater, you get it instantly. And not only that, but it checks every 8 hours to make sure you're current. So Secure Updater is really the biggest solution for this particular problem.
There's a free trial for Secure Updater, so how do our viewers go out there and download that free trial?
Oh, absolutely. You can go to secureupdater.com. It's the website home of Secure Updater. No secure socket certificates required. And you download Secure Updater. When you install it on your computer, it'll work for 14 days, no charge. It doesn't ask you for a credit card number, none of those games. It works for 14 days. When it expires, you have a choice to buy it or uninstall it. And you can do either one. It's not hard to uninstall. It works really well. But it works so well, actually, that we have just signed another computer repair company in Minnesota. I mean, we get an average of 3 or 4 calls a week from computer repair companies that want to resell Secure Updater to their customers. And it makes me feel good when I'm talking to this computer repair company in Minnesota and he installs it for the first time on his computer and he's just like, you've automated everything. This is amazing. I mean, because there are other programs out there you can use to check to see if you're up to date, but none of them automate everything.
How much does it cost if you decide after 2 weeks that you want it forever?
No, no, it's actually the initial year you subscribe is $50, and then each successive year after that that you renew is $25. So it averages out to be about $2 a month. But let's say that you become a victim of identity theft, or even just credit card fraud, or worse yet, you get a virus on your computer because your Java or your Flash was out of date. Those things cost money to fix, and so $2 a month compared to the cost of having to deal with these things, it's almost like saying, why do you have liability insurance on your car? You never get in a wreck, right? The day you cancel that stuff, the day you cancel it, you're going to get in a wreck.
My computer is different than Mike's computer. So does Secure Updater, I guess, is there a wide range of programs that it's going to update based on your needs or what you already have installed?
Right now, Secure Updater covers about 30 of the most common programs people install. It does not work on Mac at this point. We haven't coded it over to Mac. Just hasn't been that much demand for it. I suppose if I get a call from a bunch of Macintosh, Apple computer repair centers that they want it, maybe we'll look into it. But right now, the majority of the people who want this are PC users. But yeah, you install it on your computer, and it automatically detects what programs you have installed, and then just starts updating.
It does the work for you, though. As a user, I don't have to go through and click a bunch of buttons.
Oh, not at all.
Intuitive.
Not at all. And it uses a stoplight system. So basically, red means, hey, we're doing something, or hey, you need something. And green means everything is good.
There were a couple of websites we showed you. SecureUpdater.com is where you can download Secure Updater itself. And then SchrockInnovations.com. There's 2 locations in the Metro, one at Village Point, one in Papillion, and the third one in Lincoln. SchrockInnovations.com.
Thanks,
the original,
Thor.
yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Great to see you as always.